far. Tell me how Dispel Magic checks to see if it works. How does it decide when it removes stuff? Pick up something weird like Battering Blast, which we've never used. Never seen an option. Grab Dispel and it'd be useful. But I want to have access to it and I haven't seen a scroll of it, so alright. That's done, right? We've got Wizard 5, so we're happy with this. We're 1 Alchemist, 5 Wizard, the rest Arcane Trickster. Go, Arcane Trickster, go. Spellcasting. Alright, we get other points in here. Should have given us a boost somewhere too, right? Mobility got a boost. Three, 6 now. Wow. Arcana, World, UMD. Max out Arcana if we want to spend those retroactively. And grab Perception. No longer need Nobility. We don't give a shit about Stealth, although 1 point in Stealth gives us a lot of Stealth, but I really don't care about Stealth. Like more Lore Nature. That one's rough. Or is it Lore Religion? Lore Religion. I don't know that we're realistically going to become big rolling on this, right? We're doing that. That's okay. Alright. Alright, we're spell focusing next, or rather, is it spell focus? The one that lets us get? Yes, DC. So we've been doing conjuration. I think it would be kind of not really fair to not do that, so we'll take that. In conjuration, we'll figure out other things later. Alright, we're now up to wizard level 3 spells. We already got, we're adding more. Add Battering Blast, since we don't have it. If we have a lightning bolt. All right. Just delayed Arcane Trickster by a bit. Reasonable. Level 4 spells. I'm totally over fucking hit spells. Check out Animate Dead. It's a little cheaty. One enemy within touch range. We tried, I believe we picked up Fireball or something. I think we tried Crushing Despair. No, we tried, this is the cone. There's 3 in a row. There's Crushing Despair, Confusion, and then Overwhelming Grief. We tried Overwhelming Grief, and Overwhelming Grief has been probably, we knew it was going to be bad, but it's even worse than I thought it was going to be. We don't know what Ice Storm is, so these evocation spells being re-added is very interesting. We get to see the full list. What do we lose from level 4 illusion spells? Rainbow Pattern. Level 24. Phantasmal Killer. What's the spell do in this game? It just kills them. Target gets a will save to recognize the image as unreal. If the save fails, the phantasm touches the subject, and the subject must succeed at a fortitude save or die. Even if they succeed, they take a fuck ton of damage. Wow. Okay, what's the other one we would give up? Rainbow, we already looked at that one. And there's Greater Invis. So Greater Invis is what? 1 round per level. So it's a pretty short duration buff. There's not going to be a spell that I'm going to be running around pre-buffed on. And when we get all the invisible bonuses. Okay, I don't care about losing that. That's fine. All right. What is Volcanic Rock? Bludgeoning damage, fire damage, occurs once. Creatures inside have -4 on their skill checks. The entire area is treated as difficult terrain. That's kind of interesting. End of the duration. Oh, but the duration of the spell is rounds per level. Almost nice to have that disappear. But I suppose the upside of this spell is I'm creating difficult terrain in the same way that we were creating difficult terrain with Obsidian Flow, which I liked Obsidian Flow. It was solid. I like the ability to impact the terrain. Action from Energy Communal seems great. I know our cleric's running one of these though. Oh, that's what I thought we were talking about a second ago too. I guess the other one wasn't. Ice Storm is doing very similar. Ice Storm is doing the same thing as the Firestorm, except it's ice damage. Okay. Invisible Cone of Terror causes each living creature to become frightened unless it makes a will save. Fear seems like a pretty powerful ability. The will save succeeds, the creature taken for 1 round. Veneration. You unlevel people with this? That's funny. Do we have a level 4? The ones I already have. The ones I already have are probably down here as red. This is our first level 4 spell. So we're looking for a conjuration at level 4. There isn't one. There's no level 4 conjuration we want. Ouch. Oh, fear is what the other disablers are causing? Okay. We don't need to do it on the wizard. A little bit of an argument for controlled fireball. If we're ever going to throw evocation spells, this is the one we want to throw, right? Fireball without hitting our own guys. Not actually that relevant, honestly. If I think about it. We have fireballs, we can hit them. Fusion was strong, but kind of crappy for what we want. Strong versus us, but not super great. What's the third one? The one we almost took last time it didn't. Crushing Despair. This is the cone. The will negate. Hits multiples. Stacking debuff again. Very exciting. What if I don't want a second level 4 spell, chat? One free roll dimension door. Guess we take Acid Pit as our freebie. I want a conjuration spell for this level 4. I don't think we have one right now. Oh, I guess we're grabbing that. I'm pretty unexcited by those spells. Okay. Alright. Yeah, it's not necessarily a good thing though, toss right out, right? Okay, so we've done, this is, oops. All right, I think we are happy with the respec of Baracus. I think. Okay, so I need to take a lunch break before I forget and miss lunch for today. I'm gonna do that now, and we'll come back and we will fix the our main tank, or our off tank rather. Tragic Booty's getting his respec, and once we're done with Tragic Booty, I think we are good to go adventure again. So I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. See you guys shortly. All right. Back from lunch. Take a quick look here. We're working with. All right. So I think I don't have a strong answer for the final one. So I think I want to look at them both. So we already did save. Let's take a look at respecing the look at each of the builds. I have to edit this thing in between. It's annoying. All right, that's fine. Do that real quick. Started with Battle Brothers and saw his related guides and vids, just checking out what else he offers. I do variety streaming. Right now we're on a Pathfinder Kingmaker kick right now, which is a CRPG from a couple years ago. It's had a lot of, it has ended up as quite a nice product. But in general, I do real-time or turn-based strategy if I can. My preferred genre. But there's quite a lot of things that kind of overlap with that. All right, so where is this? Then users. Right. Did the AT edit this? Oh, zip open archive. Air gold. There. It. Look through here. Linkage and for gold. Money? I think it was money. All right. And our money needs 106,780. Doesn't actually matter what we set it to right now. Let's just send it to 10 million. We'll reset it after. So we can respec twice if we need to here. Yep. All right. All right. All right. Yeah, I feel like I'm waking up a little bit. I was pretty groggy this morning, it felt like. Getting into the respec a little bit more. Good. We'll update our gold to what it was before we did all the respecing after we complete it. But I wanted enough money in there to respec twice if we need to. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to respec into that ranger, take a look at it, and then decide if we want to use. And respec into the other one, decide which we want to use. So, agree. We're respecing the dwarf. Okay. Sure. Let's take a look at that build. That is the build for Ironclad Ranger name. Okay, it was dwarf. And is a pure ranger build. Leveling shield bash, heavy armor focus, shield focus, dodge, shield master, steel soul, iron roller, toughness, lack of. So you're getting buffs. You're taking feats to buff DC or saving throws by 2 per feat. That's so weak, man. All right, Freebooter gave us what? We get pure ranger progression here. Freebooter gives us Freebooter's bond, which is excellent. Freebooter's Bane, which is
another
okay.
Poor fool lost in time and space.
Thank you very much, Angamar. The 5 gifted subs, and yes, vastly appreciate it. I get concerned when I see things like this, like the pattern right now, where we're just seeing slow, steady decline in viewership over Pathfinder days. Now today's a little bit of an abnormality because today's a respec day, but I always get a little concerned. So I appreciate the support, man. Rebooter is buff, Ranger is pet. Yeah. But what's the other one? What's this fucking Flame Warden and Stormwalker? I have no idea what these things do. Thing has, look, it's got all sorts of fucking things. The ranger buffs, which no one gives a shit about. Evasion's nice, but too late and not that impactful. We already have something giving insight. Insight's what comes out of the cleric. That's a debuff, so that's gonna stack with everything. I don't know what that stacks with the Freebooter's Bond. Stormwalker is Marvel Flash, and Flame Warden is Revival if I die. Okay. Sleeping in medium armor, but we're planning to build this to heavy armor, so we don't get to take advantage of endurance. Alright, so we got a sense of what this character looks like. Character looks fairly dull. The exciting part of this character is the access to items they get. That's what's exciting about this character. Everything else is going to be really dull. It's going to be feat progressions that are doing like, you know, you have like 4,000 abilities in this game. It's going to be like +2 to a feat, +2 to will saves, +2 to reflex saves, etc. Comes down to if I want a pet or not. The answer is I don't want a pet. So answer solved. Problem solved. It would be freebooter if we went this version. Barring that, what does the multi-class sword guy look like? Let's build that out and see what that actually looks like. That is the any of us. We're still respecing, buddy. Wow. Alright, so what does this end up as? Did I give myself enough of the scroll in this? I thought I did, but I don't actually see a race for this. There it is. Accidentally. Doesn't actually give me. Will saves are incredibly important. Maybe. Halfling. That sucks. So we have to give up dwarf. Definitely is not where I'm super excited about, but sure. Yeah. And it's one of the halfling races. And it's dex. Jumping strength. Dex. Jumping con. Jump weight. Yeah, I agree, Nievlis. It is exciting being dwarf because you might actually resist something once in a great while. Don't disagree. Don't disagree. We're not decided. Just building this out to see what the characters look like, because I have a hard time envisioning characters that I'm not familiar with. Anyways, sure. We're looking to dump strength. Sure. Was going up to 18. So the stat block provided is 18. And yeah, so this has unfortunately been built on character. Gonna hurt. Supposed to be 16 as well. Gonna hurt the AC too. What if this build is just not viable as a non-main character? We're not respecting a non-main character, so or rather we are respecting a non-main character. I mean, I can have a peek at Inquisitor again. It just I don't know yet. So it's something like this. Yeah, what about that Dwarf Ranger? Or Ranger Paladin progression? I don't care what we're taking for this right now because we're looking, so just look. All right, what are we doing with this character? This character needs... How do we do this without a class? Oh, it already selected Ranger. I don't want Ranger. I want Word Saint, which is... We haven't really messed around with mages. Word Saint here. We probably actually do have to take some prerequisites too, because what does the class take for eventually for taking Aldori's Sword Lord, right? Which is stuff we're speccing. Oh, alright. Takes mobility, 3, persuasion, 5, world, 3. Needs dazzling display as a feat. Weapon finesse as a feat. Dueling sword. And weapon focus. Okay. Alright. So if I then go start with our mages. We want this first. It's probably listed this way. Yeah, what are the hit point die difference between rogues, mages, and monks? Which has the highest hit point, base hit points between those three? Anyone know? Some way I can tell on this somewhere too. There is, right? It doesn't tell me a hit point dice anywhere on here. Alright. Then a bunch of these. We need mobility, persuasion, rolled. Mobility, persuasion, and world. Alright. Looking at this. Divination and illusion. So what is this? This is 1 feat for being level 1, and then there's a restricted feat coming off of chosen weapon. Weapon focus. Okay, this is a duelist sword, right? So we weapon focus duelist sword. Think. They all have D8. Thank you, Joas. Alright. That's fine. First feat needs to be Crane style. We can't Crane style here. Cautious fighter. We already get cautious. Cautious fighter is a different thing. Oh, because we're halfling. This is our first halfling. I thought I chose tiefling. Didn't choose tiefling. Ooh. Now, halfling luck is not the ability that it is in a different setting, but I was wondering when I was going to get my tiefling. I'm so used to clicking tiefling, I was expecting to get a check for which tiefling I was going to roll. So what do we gain from being halfling? We gain 2 perception, 2 racial mobility on athletic and mobility, which I don't use outside of... This is only out of combat. We gain halfling luck +1 to saving throws, which is nice. And we gain fearless. But we lose fucking 10 movement for this. Yeah, he's taking it for 1 AC, I think. Also, because we dump strength, pumps charisma, which this character cares about. This has got to be worse, though, than... Right? 2 from 3 AC, beat 1 from size because we're small. What happens if I reduce size on a character that's small? Does it go to like tiny or something? What happens with tiny? What's the penalty to being tiny? Even more damage reduction? All right, I mean, the point is to build this out and take a look at it so we understand it. But we'll take a look. So that was my little burst of understanding. For some reason, I read Halfling and translated it to Tiefling. I'm not actually convinced Halfling's the right one yet, but we'll see. Okay, next up is Cautious Fighter, which is the Halfling only +1 AC. Sure. All right, level 1 Magus spells. Are these actual spells, the Magus shit, or is this like, I gotta read their class feature, I guess. Level 1, he can learn to cast spells, wield his weapon at the same time. These functions much like 2-weapon weapon, but offhand as a spell is being cast. Uses ability mages must have one free hand when wielding a light or one-handed weapon. As a full round, he can make all of his attacks with melee weapon at -2 and cast any spell from the mage's list with a casting cost of 1 standard action. Any attack roll, okay. There's also a size modifier to the damage dice on a weapon though, chat. So presumably if we go low enough, we don't care because we're getting 0 damage out of the dice anyways, so that all the damage comes off whatever else we're bringing in. So yes, strength maybe not so bad there, but I was just trying to figure out if this character, if we're going to be going even smaller and smaller. All right, so these are, what are these? These are level 0s, these are cantrips. No, it's level 1s if it's fucking shield here. This is not what I think this is. What is this? I'm only taking 1 level, so these are based off of the mage's spell stuff. Why is it showing me level 0s here and level 1s here? I don't understand what the fuck's going on here. I mean, we're gonna be doing melee touch attacks, right? Okay, this is me not understanding mages' chat to some degree here. So I don't understand why we're at level 0. Do we just get all these? We might just get all these. Maybe I should be looking at level 1. Yeah. But this character is going to be casting these as part of their action. So presumably True Strike's useful for future attacks. Not this round, but it would be next round kind of deal. Do I shield myself if I use this as part of an attack? They have to be melee touch spells. It's not just any. It's not that it said any spell that was a standard action. It did not say melee touch spells, right? And what are we scaling up on this class? This class is going to scale Sword Lord. The shield is actually not something we're always going to have active. Shocking Grasp is a must-have? Why? He has like the melee touch attack portion of this. Isn't the problem with the melee touch attack though that it uses strength? Isn't this character dex based and dumping strength? So why do we want melee touch attacks? I don't think reduced person works because it's not a standard action, it's a full action. What, again, where are you guys getting melee touch from? When I read the class, it does not say that. It says... you guys are probably talking about this, which is level 2, which is nothing that's even remotely related to us. This is about range of touch too. Spell strike. Chat, remember this is chat. I can't answer this more times than this, right? We only take 1 level of Sword Saint on this build. We never get level 2 here. So anything in this column, anything in this row and to the right is not relevant to this build, right? So what we're actually working with is level 1 stuff here. I think it's just this one. I'm taking 5 levels. I'm not. Four levels later, at level 13. See? Like only buffs. The problem with these buffs is a lot of them are based on presumably the buff is based on the level of the character, right? Which was here under spells. So I'm looking at shield. Shield is a minute per level. So it starts off as a 60-second buff and then scales up to a 300-second buff, I guess. Maybe that's still good enough. Seems like True Strike's always going to be good. The idea of greasing on attacks pretty funny. Take Expeditious Retreat as one of these. Yeah, well, I kind of like the idea that I don't always have shield running on this character, but like when I start tanking with it, we use one of our specials to do that. It's kind of interesting. Just wondering how that worked. Any other ones we really give a shit about? We can't. Can we reduce person enemies? It's still friendly, right? Yeah, okay. Vanish. Off tank. So we're just going to avoid all the damage abilities, right? Like there's no reason for it. We don't care. Or do we care? These aren't cantrips. We can damage off cantrips, presumably. I don't really want to spend spell resources doing damage off these. Is this the one time that Ray of Enfeeblement might be useful? Because I feel like it's not. Right, Vanish and... Having self-buff reduce person can still be good. But it's just so short if this character class isn't leveling it. I just prefer to throw my buffs out elsewhere. What does Flare Burst do? Also, how do spells work on mages? Are all my spells, are they spontaneous casters or prep casters? So am I going to have access to all these, or am I going to be preparing some subset of these? It's George saying is prep. Joas says spontaneous. Jeremiah says prep. Okay, so it's prep. Sounds like 2 or 3 think that. I guess I could maybe even check. There's probably somewhere that tells me, but I don't know where the fuck it does. Spell prep. Okay, 3 of 3 prep. Perfect. Great. So then the last spell point check really doesn't matter here because we're never going to prep a 5th level 1 spell off this spell list that I can think of. Oh, is this the one that denies them attacks of opportunity? No, that's 5e, I guess. So fucking hard figuring out things when it doesn't matter. You're like looking for anything that could possibly be used sometime to be helpful. Imagine like an insanely low DC grease. God, it just sounds terrible. Maybe burning hands because occasionally maybe magic missile. This is gonna be so bad. Burning hands to attack swarms. I don't know. It just feels so bad. Shocking grasp. All right, sure. I can't imagine ever using that. Yeah.
I'm always ready.
All right. We're gonna end up respecting the same. I just want to build this out. So let's take a look. All right, 1 magus, 1 monk. Won't let me go monk right now. Oh no! Alignment restrictions to monk. Alright, fine. If we don't care about this int conversion, we even need to do this if we want to build Sword Lord. We get the weapon focus for free by going the sword guy. And the proficiency. I have to get these somewhere and the monk doesn't have them. Ugg probably gets something here. It looks like we get these free. I'm not talking about continuing this one, Joas. That's not my question. I was just kind of thinking through the benefit of, because we're not getting the full int conversion because we're only running 14 int, we're only getting 2 from the plus int to AC. I was kind of curious if that was even worth taking the sword mage for. And it looks like the answer is we're getting benefit out of that, which is a feat benefit. That makes sense. We have to respec immediately, so. All right. We can start with monk. There's no difference between starting with the two of them. They have the same hit die, right? So take care of that alignment problem right now. My class bonuses. I'm gonna pump this. I think I went 16. Was it 16? It was 14, 12, 10, 10, 8. Okay. Did I not select Scaled Fist? I do forget that like 50% of the time when I do this. Yeah. Right. We're forced again on ability. Equation. World. I get one more starting off monk. We would have got later anyways. What is this character likely to want to be doing? What coverage did we give up? We gave up perception basically only, I think, here. Dex based, not wisdom based. Don't have someone raising stealth, but I don't actually care very much. Care a lot about the checks, but we don't have enough for them. Probably just fucking. Anyways, we're doing this as the figure it out kind of deal first. All right, so we want crane style, and we want cautious fighter.
A mere flesh wound.
All right. And what is this running? There are considerations here. Lawful neutral. Okay.
You should have run.
All right. Then we get Magus, Sword Saint. Go. And heal mobility to 3. Equation and world. Use a weapon. The sword focus is coming in a dueling sword. We're choosing shield, vanish, true strike, retreat, and random. Right, then it's thug off rogue. All right, generating what? Giving us weapon finesse, which we want. We want a weapon. Yeah, no, we need weapon focus as part of this build, so that's great. We get frightening, which is sick. The thug bonus. Keep sneak attack, which is fine. What do we lose going rogue to thug? We lose trap finding, which does nothing. Not a goddamn thing. We lose evasion, possibly. No, we keep evasion. We lose. Nope. We lose danger sense. Like, holy shit! If this is bad, that's really bad. We lose uncanny dodge. No, we get uncanny dodge. Jesus Christ, man. Why would I ever want to go base rogue? It's so bad in the game. Like, maybe on the tabletop, like, this is worth something. This, like, reduce damage to traps and finding traps seems so bad on this. Okay. All right. So we take that. We still have to get to mobility 3. Have to get to world 3. And we get to be... what were these? Persuasion had to be at 5. Definitely keep leveling that. Then we actually have, because we're rogue now, we get a fuck ton of skill points. That's nice. Like perception. Too bad too that we can't go higher int, because the int giving us additional, I guess it's only half. One every other level. We don't have lore nature. Oh, chat, we fucked it up. Because if this character can level world and is okay at it, then really we should focus the Arcane Trickster on Arcana plus lore nature, so I can actually hit those fucking rolls against, is it nature or religion? As cleric's the only one doing religion. The Arcane Trickster jumps it to 10 as well. They're both 10 wisdom. No, we don't want to touch trickery. The Arcane Trickster has trickery taken care of. So I actually think this is probably actually dumps into religion. So okay, because nature's currently Chat's Cleric and Thaddeus. Thaddeus is staying as he is. So world then is Baracus and Thaddeus. Arcana is Baracus and Niablis. And then nature is Cleric, Chat is Cleric and Thaddeus, and then religion. So actually we can do it here. We can fix it through here. Don't have to respec that. Good. Okay. That gets coverage here. We want to run lore religion here. We can backfill it a little bit. We can also backfill perception. How many points are we going to have in general though? I don't know how many the rogue gets each level. We got to keep our perception rolls fairly high too. I think the guy we're respecing was our highest roll in perception. Perception is basically loot acquisition. That's Cleric is at 13, Baracus is at 10, Thaddeus is at 8. Miklas is at 11. And who is this we're fucking with? Tragic Booty, right? I'll forget who the needs to be in the end. So coverage from this then ideally is lots of rolls versus one high roll. I think it's just better to have lots of rolls. Let's roll with religion here. All right, what else do we need here? We have Cautious Fighter. Next is Dazzling Display. I don't know if that's available right now. Looks like it is. We'll grab that as one of our prereqs. Okay, great. That's Thug 1 taken care of. Let's look at Thug 2. Going up to Thug 4, if I remember correctly. We get our first point here. This has got to be Dex that we're leveling, right? So we're not going to get the feat that adds strength to charisma for persuasion stuff. So that's a bit sketch. So our individual is this character ever going to have high enough rolls? I mean, I guess we're specializing persuasion and maybe there's like a skill in there later for it or something. Persuasion's got to go to 5. These only had to be at 3. We can be done world. Baracus and Thaddeus already do this. See, but this is worse then. Like, Baracus is only doing this because we can. We don't have to. He could easily be doing religion instead.
Another poor fool, lost in time and space.
Thank you for the 5 gifted sub, Father Potatoes. Appreciate it. Bonus from weapon focus to intimidation? Okay. I really think there's an argument for the AT to be doing lore religion. And then whatever this thing is, this is the Sword Lord. Be doing world. I don't have to worry about it so much right now. We can just build it up like we're not doing that, but I think it's worth mentioning. Alright. 4 of these. Don't care about mobility past 3. Baracus is still mobility rolling. 3 stealth, they're fine. Arcana is taking care of Baracus and Niablis. Is Niablis continuing to level Arcana, chat? I don't remember. Might not be. We have fucking 4 points left. We taking them both? Man, these rogue levels certainly made that sweeter. Bad at being Twitch, but watching my content for ages. Thanks, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the moment to help support me. Absorb it any way you like, quite honestly. Nice to hear. All right, we took Dazzling Display already, so this is a rogue feat. We might have screwed ourselves here. The guide says combat expertise. I don't know what combat expertise is. Combat trick. This thing. -1 on melee attack rolls to get 1 to my AC. Wait, I thought this is what fighting defensively did. Is this an addition? Is this cumulative subtracting from this? Why don't we take this on anybody else? It seems like such a shit trait. I don't think it's lower. All right. So picking up evasion on our tank is awesome. Or off tank anyways. One more level here. So level 3 rogue. Fleshing out. Knowledge. Perception. Evasion. Dude, int-based rogue. Craigasm for skill coverage. Look at this stuff. We could even flesh out stealth if we wanted to. Although I'm not convinced that Nieblis is going to be doing enough Arcana checks either. Plus 11's okay. We need to build out someone having a stealth roll for like 20 experience. We could also keep mobility. We were forced to take mobility because of this. Brachus is not actually spec'd in mobility, so his mobility rolls are never going to get higher. He just doesn't wear armor and wanders around naked all the time as a wizard. Honestly, I didn't realize this till this instant, but we're essentially role-playing a group of nudists who are forced to wear some covering and choose robes. Channel lore, now we know. I mean, I guess we just take them both. We have 1 million extra fucking skill points here. Do we get them every other? No, it's the same amount per level too. So but we're not going rogue anymore. What does a sword lord progress for terms of skill progression? Does anybody know that? Is it even possible to know that? There's probably nothing. Probably no one has ever attempted to progress skills as 5 different classes simultaneously. Except it's Pathfinder, they probably have. There's no way to plan ahead without picking them. That's fine. So we're getting 6 on thug levels. It's just worth talking about. This is why we do it out like this before going back and making final decisions, because God alone knows what this comes out of. Even if we're taking this, to be honest. All right. So this is what then? Possibly trickery or stealth, and possibly knowledge arcana, or possibly mobility. All right. Dodge and finesse training. Finesse training, dueling sword. What is this? This is a rogue specialization. I don't know. Ah, it converts to damage. Nice. So now dueling swords do dex. Pretty sick. Don't we get that automatically starting as, or is that a required? That might have been a require. Fuck. And add his dex bonus, if any, to damage rolls made with his dueling sword instead of his strength bonus. He already gets this, right? Do we need to take that on the rogue as well? We probably don't. Adds her dex modifier instead of her strength modifier to a damage roll. Wonder if it's just restricted by some other reason. Dex bonus instead of damage roll to damage rolls. It's the same. Wait. It's not the same? Rogue gives dex to AB. What's AB? I don't think so, man. I think this one is giving us literally to damage. I think you're talking in... Yeah, but look. Adds your dex modifier to the damage roll. No, that specifically says damage roll.
You have returned.
I think it's weapon finesse that makes us add it to our for attack rolls, right? Thank you, Moonman, for the 21 months. So this is literally the same modifier that we already get. So we would actually take anything except dueling sword is my point. Taking this. Because dueling sword gets immediately counterfeited. So it would be like, what would be our second weapon of choice? I don't have any sense of how to do that. I mean, we're going to want to be finesse based. We want weapons that can be do with this. Any light weapon, Elven Curd Blade, or Estocker Rapier. Right. But I mean, we don't get any of the Sword Lord bonuses without it, right? I guess I need to read that. So let's look at this class again. This one here. I think all of the bonuses on the Sword Lord are triggered off of having this. Maybe not. With the dueling sword. With the dueling sword. With the dueling sword. Bummer. Okay, so it's basically just literally... It doesn't matter then. That's kind of a bummer. It would have been nice if picking this gave us some diversity of something, but it doesn't. We're always going to be using a dueling sword. Always, always, always in this character. I guess, yeah, maybe... Was there something about... Is it also... Oops, wrong one. Is it also not having anything in your offhand? We might be able to sneak the shield in there somewhere. +1 to intimidate. With a dueling sword for each of the following feats, he has... Greater weapon focus, improved critical, weapon focus, or weapon spec. None of which are those things. Defensive parry. Attack with a dueling sword. None of these say he can't wear a fucking arm. These abilities don't require him to have his offhand free. But why do we have to have our offhand free? Death Strike does. Death Strike does. Does the rogue one though? This one doesn't require that we have to have our offhand free. Do the HP bonuses we gain from either of these require offhands? This is negated when he carries a shield. What about the Slayer one? Or Magus one, is that also? What is the conversion piece on this thing? It's an int conversion here. They all require no shield and not wearing anything else. So there's no benefit. None of these this is another one of my hardest choices, right? It's decisions with no that don't matter. So we choose based on some arbitrary thing that we can't think of right now. Maybe we want to bite him. Finesse training, bite. Perfect. Okay. And then this one is dodge. Dodge. Okay. I mean, we're halfling, but doesn't halfling mean we can't get the fucking wings bonus? The flying bonus? We sure we want to be halfling? Isn't that equal? The halfling bonus to the other bonus? Not convinced about this halfling. It feels like I'm ticking slow, which is painful as fuck in this game and gaining nothing. Alright, one last level of rogue. All right, still 1,000,000 points in here. I'm now signing places. We've got another rogue feat. That trick outflank is reasonable. See what else we get to pick as this. Deception check, fine. Iron guts. Skill focus. Might be a nice skill focus persuasion. Skill reactions is something I like as well. But we haven't found a reason to use it yet. Flank now. I'm not necessarily. I'm just looking. What are we taking here? Easy does it. I can read your skill guide. I'm just looking. I know I want outflank at some point, but I'm looking what things I can get out of the rogue talents. Nice. Any of the rogue ones come in here? Improved initiative in here too. What do we take for the last one? Expertise. I mean, we're not gonna not take outflank on this character sooner or later. It's inevitable that, and we want it now at level 8 too. I just want to see what my other options are, because we're using outflank on Thaddeus and on Diablos, right? Like, we definitely want this. All of our melee cares about this. The huge accuracy bonus. Okay. Hampering injury. Oh, this is the specialty from the... How come I didn't choose... Oh, I choose when I use it? I'm gonna find that out. That's the thug stuff. Alright. Now... I think we're supposed to be able to take Sword Lord now. We can. Okay, cool. This is the Sword Lord build now. Take this. We get wave our weapon or wave our member around in the fucking air, and everyone's terrified. We have that out right now. What the fuck is happening? We get all the cool stuff. So our next... Joas doesn't want me taking this past Shatter Confidence. Okay, this is a good time to have this discussion, Joas. Why is it that you want to stop taking Aldori Swordlord at 5 levels of it? When I look at stuff like this and I'm like, holy shit. I didn't even know it went up to level 2 like the rest of these. Like, what do these do? And that's great. Penalty from the Aldori Swordlord Shatter Confident increases to -2 is good. Adaptive Tactics I think is pretty cool too. And just when the creature attacks an Aldori Swordlord for the first time, he attempts a perception. Oh, so we need perception on the fucking Swordlord. If we do, we get bonuses against it, right? We maybe don't have to go quite as far into Thug. What else are we getting from higher levels of Rogue? We don't actually need this conversion feat. I wanted Debilitating. I think it was kind of pretty cool, these 3 benefits you can choose from that. So I see 3 levels of Thug. Oh, that is 4 levels of Thug. That's what we're getting. We're not at 5. This is just highlighting it. If we didn't take this one, we get lower Thug. Oh, we also get Uncanny Dodge. Fuck that. Uncanny Dodge is incredible. Like, level 4 Thug just seems so good. Look at that. You get a Rogue feat, a Rider on your already when you're doing shit that you're already doing, and then you get Uncanny Dodge. That's so good, man. We're just trying to avoid finesse training bite. I also like brutal beating, right? Yeah, it's this synergy. Well, I would like a critique of this build right now because it feels like I'm a little concerned that, I mean, this, for example, I like the skill monkeying, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty happy about that right now. But we're running 10 con on the tank. Int's only 14, not 16, so we're already losing one of the AC that we're getting from splashing Sword Saint, right? And there's some duplication of abilities with like that specialization for the duelist weapon. We lose 2 AC? Why are we losing 2 AC? Bliss and SS. I don't know that I wish to take advantage of a bug in the game that's not protected by, that's not been fixed by the errata. I'm not sure that really does a lot for me. I'm not sure I wish to be taking a stacking ability that isn't intended to stack, right? And it is level 16 plus, which I'm not concerned about at all for the build. He values Sword Saint if you already get weapon finesse training from Thug. What does Sword Saint give me? Give me int 2 AC plus 2 AC. Gives us a reason to focus int, right? What else does it give us? Thus, cantrips, which I don't really care about. Detect magic, which I don't care about at all. Chosen weapon, which I do care. That's a free weapon focus. That's 1 feat. Build loses a lot of attack bonus. Interesting. Proficiency or image. I don't know where we get mirror image from. What does this do? Gives us +1 to our enhancement. As a swift action. Is okay. Necessary to have more than 1 skill monkey. I want all my skills covered, and double covering things means when I have to make rolls on those skills, we get multiple rolls on it, which is nice. I think it's just +1, right? We're never good. I mean, maybe, I guess +2 by the time you get to 16. Sure. But for now, I mean. How else would we get chosen weapon then? What else do we get at level 1 with people? We get, why does it say we get, okay, this is looking at level 2. We don't get that. We get this thing though. We get spell combat. I mean, that's okay. It's okay to rerunning. I mean, this is a way to, I mean, it has some nice stuff, right? It means if the off tank is caught flat-footed or caught without buffs, we can throw up some of the buffs while we're attacking. I don't know how we're, I guess we get mirror image later once we get multiple levels in Sword Saint. So what's Sword Saint's spell progression though? When do I get level 2? At 4 levels of Sword Saint. Probably. We'll pick up mirror image then, which is a self-only spell, which is actually pretty decent. So there's some more utility in that a little bit later on. For some more self-buffing spells. Although not a lot. I guess Blur's there as well, but Blur can be cast by somebody else. Houston, welcome back, man.
Returned.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting now with all this shit, right? I mean, it's a very interesting build, which is really appealing to me. I generally like complex builds once I understand them. Because complex builds tend to be either extremely synergetic, like a fuck ton of stuff adding together to something you really care about, or tends to be very option heavy, so you can do lots of different things. We're eventually planning to bring this to E2 is how many points of this? 5 points. We're eventually going to here. Arcane weapon +2. Bonus mage's feat. Perfect strike. Interesting. Kind of cool, right, Rindu? Like, I'm kind of TNT, you have to make full attack or standard action to fight defensively. I'm a bit concerned this character won't be doing much, so. I know I just talked about that. I guess the Intimidate stuff. Okay, I need to read how the fucking Intimidate stuff works again. So let's read the rope. Let me just parse through this again. So sneak attack damage dice are good for us. Although we're not actually taking very many. We're just taking 2 levels of it. It's a little bit of damage early. Our base weapon damage is going to be close to 0. Considering we probably start as halfling for tiny. And then we probably shrink ourselves to whatever the fuck lower than tiny is. Absolutely miniature, perhaps. Evasion is disgustingly good. Uncanny dodge is disgustingly good. What is brutal beating doing for us? We have when we do sneak attack damage. Okay. So that's probably solid too. This is going to be riders for sicken, and then also debilitate for 1 round. So we want to hit with this character. Hit's important, and sneak attack damage is important. Talk to me about DR and sneak attack, chat. If I hit with 2 sneak attack dice here, here's Care Bear. 7 gifted subs. Thanks, buddy. If I am sneak attacking here with only 2 sneak attack dice, does debilitating injury and the other rider evasion even hit anyone who has any DR? Right? If they have DR, it's going to be 0, right? Attacks a rider on the attack, so you don't, when you calculate damage, you don't DR sneak attack separate from the weapon. Intimidate on hit as from shatter defenses and like coordinates when I fighting defensively would work. Okay. Added to the total. All right, that's what I wanted to know. So then we're not going to get like blocked to apply our riders by DR. Okay. So what are we giving up in this build? Bab? Bab and armor coverage, but we get a ton of skill coverage. So I'm still going to be salty as fuck every time I loot any piece of item. But we did fix having UMD coverage. We figured out a better way to do UMD off of the Arcane Trickster. Some way to turn off the Thug Frightening. -2 Bab. 2 Bab is -2 accuracy, which sucks. Where are we -2 from? I'm not sure. I think we did multi-classing. There was something like is it like you don't get extra like Bab progression off levels until you've had 2 points in them or something like that? Can't remember exactly how that was. What's Sword Lord Bab progression? Sword Lord's full Bab. Sword is 3/4. Can't be both those things. Alright, let's put this point in. Here it goes. We lose a ton of our skill point progression from dropping from Rogue. So considering our base is +1, it looks like Rogue is base 5, and it looks like the Rogue is base 5. And whatever the hell this is Sword Lord is base 2. If you don't mind being a mediocre at best tank, I think Thug 4 Inquisitor X. Let's roll with Dwarf. Huh. We haven't looked at that yet. It's worth looking at. This is traditional monk. It wasn't. This is the other one, the charisma monk, Scaled Fist. Alright, I did say I was going to build through this, then make decisions after. So let's keep building through this. We'd always want persuasion. It's our role. These extra ones up here might just be garbage. We might just stop on that. So we're looking for lore rolls. What, we stop being able to do everything and end up having to do like a really restricted set. I have no idea where the skills would go in this. Oh, we need perception, right? Perception matters for the ability to trigger Sword Lord abilities. Good call. is going to be Keen Wing. I think that's the second tier of the monk ability. Alright, final deal here. Second Sword Lord bonus. At any dex there. It's kind of low. I'm not sold on these stats yet. We need this. That. One other. Pick this up. That would be that. Okay. It's an interesting build. I'm pretty happy with it to start with. I really would like to check out the thug stuff. I'd like to get that debilitating shit going on soon. I haven't tried little tiny halfling garbage yet, but it's kind of interesting. Now the save throws are going to suck again. Both of our tanks are going to be pretty vulnerable to saves, right? They're both charisma based too, kind of. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm pretty happy with that overall, but I do want to take a look at a couple other things which were fuck were they? Thinking about one of them. Oh, we're looking at Inquisitor. Thug Inquisitor. What does that do for us? I don't even know. Let me just have a very quick look at that idea just to see what I'm talking about here. So what is the advantage of Inquisitor again? Thank you, Dr. Bois. Appreciate the 5 gifted subs, man. Alright. Working through that. So, some of the problems were Monster Tactician is just a straight up upgrade over Inquisitor as far as I can tell. We lose Judgments. Judgments were... what? I don't remember what the fuck Judgments did. We get the ability to take... so Inquisitors get the ability to take teamwork feats as basically personal feats, which is pretty nice. Judgments are self-buffs that last 1 combat. Okay. No, everyone gets Bane Weapon. Monster Tactician gets Bane Weapon too, man. And Bane Weapon is quite good. Just basically, I think it's accuracy and... it's accuracy and damage. And then the options in here were what? Tactical Leader or Sacred Huntsmaster. Sacred Huntsmaster was more palatable to me than the fucking Tactician, right? This is like the Ranger like kind of deal here. Where like we have a single pet, but it's just a single pet. It's not summoned, so there's a finite amount of hits it can absorb, so it's not cheesing the fuck out of everything kind of deal. And then Tactical Leader was what? Tactical Leader did something differently. There was like slower feat progression, but like everybody gets them at 5 or something, or 3. Yeah. At the 12th level, the Tactical Leader lets other people take advantage of these. So he basically says, all my teamwork feats, all of you guys in a short area can take advantage of those for now. But it says finite number of rounds. And it becomes a swift action later at 12. Problem is, I don't really want this. So the nice parts about the Inquisitor are domains. I don't even think they all get domains. Was that only Monster Tactician?
You have returned.
I remember where domain was coming
It's
from.
almost like being back in the 8-hour match-based streams. Romantic face.
God, it's so polarizing for my community, Dr. Bois. There's some of you guys who just love doing this with me. This shit. And there's some of you who find this so tediously boring. And there's like no middle ground. Not really, right? And if a game requires a lot of it, like this game doesn't require a lot of it. We're just going out of our way to figure out when we want to do it. But I like this shit too, mostly. Although I couldn't do this every day, so maybe there is a middle ground. There's the domain selection, but I thought the one got utility out. Why was it that... not domain. What is the thing I'm thinking of? Didn't like... I thought the Slayer... this guy got like a domain, but it wasn't like properly... the deliverer, right? The deliverer chooses a deity. Okay, a deity, not a domain. The domain is the one that actually starts doing things. So all of the inquisitors are getting a domain. Okay, so we do get things from that. Okay. But this character is not going to tank, right? I mean, maybe there's some like fucking multi-spec build with this, but the thing that I mostly like about Inquisitor, I hated how much his spell. He's a holy caster, so he's basically like cleric light. He's a 2/3 holy caster, right? So he's cleric light on spells, but I don't need more cleric spells. The cleric spells basically are all buff spells, which overwrite each other or compete with each other, or DC saves, which you basically need a dedicated caster for. Our cleric could be more of a dedicated caster. There aren't a ton of really solid early game wisdom-based disable saves that I remember on the cleric tree, but there were some. I think blind's in there, and I think hold person's in there, for example. And our domain gives us things like hold magical beast and shit. So there is some utility if we transferred some of the buffs to the Inquisitor, and then transferred some of the buffing as debuffing on the cleric, possibly. So that could potentially in of itself work. Bane is great, but Bane was oh, does this guy give up Bane? Bane is great, but it's super limited. And I don't feel like the Inquisitors were very tanky. Like, they're not getting tank skills anywhere. The other one the Inquisitors kind of have that's interesting is they have a persuasion buff, a initiative buff, which was pretty good. And then they get teamwork feat. Isn't a cleric? I think it was pretty much a cleric. They're not arcane, they're divine. Yeah, see, I think I look at the Inquisitor and I think it's really cool. I just think the best Inquisitor is probably the Monster Tactician, and I think that's way too fucking, I think that's so busted in this game. So I don't hate all these things. I found them very jack of all trades, right? Like they weren't a good damage dealer, they weren't a good tank. They were like able to have a lot of magic, but not all of the magic. Able to do quite a lot in melee when they're using their resources, but not perfectly in melee. And we're able to cast, you know, like it just, I don't know. So I don't think I want an Inquisitor, although I think this class, like my surface scan of this class is really interesting. And I was hoping at one point, if you guys remember, probably not, but at one point I was hoping to avoid building cleric at all and building Inquisitor instead of cleric. But the spell progression is just not quite enough for things like AoE suppress poison kind of shit. Thank you, Trev. Yeah, I can't tell, Trev. We've actually had some guy come in on stream earlier today, and I think he was trying to give me feedback, but came off as if he were saying some negative things about that. There seems to be some mixed. There's always seems to be a mixed response when I'm on PK. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I can see the negatives, and sometimes I'm like more on the side of positive. I thought this week's PK was one of my better PK appearances, honestly, but pretty biased, right? So, but thanks for your thoughts, man. Appreciate you coming to check out the stream. Joe Rogan would have a mixed response on PK, sure. All right, so I guess my thought process with Inquisitor essentially is I love the idea of this character, but I don't see how it fits into the final role we have left on our team with what we're trying to accomplish. I don't think. So. I don't think that. Yeah, I know what you meant. At least I assumed that's what you meant. If you didn't, I'm just gonna ignore it and assume that it was mine, anyways. Channel heals are for convenience, not sustained healing during combat. There's no really sustained heal during convenience. Oh, you mean the conversion of cleric spells? Yeah, that doesn't matter. Paladin's tanky, they're okay, but I think the other build is more interesting. So I guess we have then two derivative questions from this, right? The first is, do we want to build that ranger out for any reason? I mean, the ranger was very straightforward. Right, the Freebooter Ranger. We already looked at what happened. I don't think there's a reason to go level by level there. It probably gives us a little bit more information about the skill monkeying, I guess. Is the Ranger ever more exciting than the Slayer? Not a damage dealer, it's a off tank. Utilizing shield, heavy armor, and weapon diversity. But it doesn't compete with the ranger, in my opinion. The slayer rather. And my slayer's staying. I really like my rangers. I like my bow slayer. I'm very happy with it. I guess one heart's bow slayer. God, am I just extremely biased? I feel like I'm just extremely biased to wanting to try out this Aldori Sword Lord. I think we have to try it out. I'm pretty clear on how the ranger would work, and it might be great, but I feel like I want to try that fucking Sword Lord. Rebooter 6 is pretty strong. What does it do that I'm missing? More combat feed stuff. Sure. The sell is that the Inquisitor can provide melee buffs via thug skills, can push very high intimidate checks, and can situationally pushes damage. Judgment. That sounds interesting, but what type, when you say push their defenses, can they really stand toe to toe with some heavy hitter for a couple rounds? And more importantly, can they like, I don't know, like I need a the way the spacing works out in this game with 6 people, it seems about optimal to have 2 tanks. 2 people who can stand and not have the enemy pushing in on my fucking Sork, for example. Or my my wizard rather. Yeah, my Arcane Trickster wizard. Scroll boy. Ever looked at a mages? Yep. Oh, thanks, Trev. Yeah, I'm happy to have that conversation from time to time. I just don't quite know how it fits in for day to day. It actually seemed to balance out a little bit, Trev. I felt like the early feedback was really negative, and then the kind of take home at the end of this has been mostly positive kind of deal. But I don't know. I already talked about it. It's a lose-lose trying to please everyone on PK, and I'm kind of okay with not having pleased everyone. Yeah, I agree, Jeremiah. Beats without prerequisites is very powerful. It's what I like about the Slayer. Yeah, I was looking at that too, Niablos. That's what I asked when we were doing the Ranger. I'm like, isn't there a ranged paladin kind of deal? But I don't think I want it ranged. I want it a tank. I don't think you can. I guess if you get the improved archer ability, you can point blank tank with an archer. But I don't think that's really what we're looking for. Need another brick. Do you think the Sword Lord is building another brick? When you say that? Because I get the impression the Sword Lord is going to be doing a lot of debuffing. So he's probably not going to be doing almost any damage. But he will be debuffing when we're fighting large enemy single targets where I don't need 2 tanks anyways. He's essentially back up to be hit while providing valuable debuffs. When we're fighting trash, he'll hold stuff in position where I want him holding, where I want them being held in position. It seems like kind of like a lot of what I want from an off tank, right? Situationally flexible, taking up space so our other classes don't get like hemmed in. Seems really good to me. The biggest downside is it doesn't fucking cover heavy armor or one-handed weapons. And I do like having another intimidator. Yep. Oh yeah. 100% weapon lock. It gets no armor and uses one specific weapon. All right. So we're going to build that. So, all right, chat. I guess I need to check 2 things. The first is what's the skill progression on a monk? What is our current? I don't want a -1. Let's pump this up to, what are we working with? We're working with a 14 on the other guy, right? We're just going to ignore all this shit for now. Okay, so we're looking at 4 on a monk. So, or rather, we did get to 14 in, right? Okay. We get 3 + 1 on monk. And what was the other one? The other one is the, what's the progression here for skills? +1 already. +1. 2 + int over 2. Okay. Monk should be 4 + int. And I don't tell you, didn't we just do this 1 second ago on stream together? There's our int. We're getting 4. Int of 2. We're getting 3 + 1. You have the int as the modifier. So Scaled Fist changes it. Okay. All right. I think then we know what we want. I feel a little. I'm a little torn because I kind of want the item coverage. But when I was going back through the items this morning, chat, when we were making a point about how annoying it was not to be able to use the items, I realized a lot of the items I don't actually care that much about. It's particularly annoying to me to see the sweet two-handers go. There's something joyous about the idea of smacking someone with an enormous like two-handed great axe of like slaying, you know? Per level. I have I just went through the list, and what I have is Rangers are 5+. Mages are 2+. The Monk was 3+. Or excuse me, Rogues were 5+. Monk was 3+. Mages was 2+. And Sword Lord was 2+. So we're basically getting 3. So when we spec that, we're basically only able to focus 3 reliably, but we have some extra ones to fill back in with that. Yeah, I know there's so many great axes. I'm so annoyed about that. Like every time I loot a 2-handed weapon, it's a fucking sweet two-handed axe. I agree. All right, so we're gonna do our final respec here then, and then get going. Taking all stream, but hey, standard fare. So we're currently working. This is currently Tragic Beauty. Oh, we haven't. I'm not sold on Halfling. We're gonna take a look at that in a second. I don't really feel like the Halfling bonuses are very valuable. So. But let's at least take a look. So we're trying to hit. We're gonna hit Dex Charisma, which Halfling double bonuses at the cost of a cost of Strength. So that's pretty fucking reasonable right now. What else might we want? We might want a feat, but for pure stats, we actually get identical pure stats off human, right? And if we're not maxing them, it's not much of a cost. Like, when does the cost go up, chat? Is it going from 16 to 18 the cost goes up, or going from 14 to 16? I think it's 14 to 16 has a small increase, and then 16 to 18 has a large increase. Yeah, I know you're big on the Inquisitor, Nyx, but I think for the reasons I've outlined on stream that I don't think it fits with what we're trying to do. From 13 to 14 the cost goes to 2. Is that 5e rules or is that Pathfinder rules? So who else has charisma dex bonuses that we care about? Human is fine for that. Elf, of course, is no good. Dwarf is no good for that. Gnome might work. We were really interested with that. Halfling. So Azamar is interesting because I'm pretty sure that the wings bonus is as good as the halfling bonus, right? Without the fucking 10 penalty for a frontliner. Dragon Disciple main character takes martial weapons for Eldritch Knight and can use great axes with all the monk crane stuff. Cool. I asked about that earlier in Diablos, but you weren't here and no one else had an answer. I don't really know how transform works with weapons. Wings takes a feat. Well, so does the halfling thing. The halfling thing takes a feat, right? We're already spending a feat on halfling. Presumably have the feat for wings. Yeah, buy wings need 10 levels, sure. But we're gonna get to 10 levels. So what are the actual stats we get off Azamar? Azamar seems busted, by the way, chat. Wait, I want my subclass. Yeah. Find that in a second. Alright, so our Azamar options are Wisdom, Charisma, Dumping. What? Is this Wisdom, Charisma, Dumping nothing? I always forget how fucking OP this race is. Okay. So not only that, but it also gives us racial bonus on Persuasion when used for diplomacy only. Seriously, it's just 4 stats? I don't understand why all the races don't have the same stats, just spread differently. Seems insane. Alright, Strength, Charisma. Not really relevant for this one. Int charisma is relevant, but although we probably want dex instead. At least look at it though. 2 racial bonuses to lore, religion, and knowledge arcana. Jesus, these fucking bonuses are so good. Just all around things I care about. On charisma, lore, perception. Okay. Con wisdom, persuasion, perception, and hold person. I mean, why not? A bonus to dex charisma. Charisma, racial bonuses. Persuasion, mobility. The thing has another persuasion roll on there, and this one is not limited to diplomacy, so it can be used for dex. Dex charisma is kind of what we want, isn't it? Isn't this thing incredibly good? What was the last one? Dex wisdom. This is perfect for us. Doesn't this just straight up give us a +2 on our intimidate checks here? So we get the same AC as halfling. We don't have 10 movement penalty. We get boost to our 2 highest scores that we're raising. We don't lose strength, so we get more points back somewhere else. And we get wings. Not going to be the hit glitter dust. It's going to be off his rope. We're never going to be... The problem with glitter dust is it rolls against... I mean, I guess I can use it to pop things out of stealth, but I can't use it to use blind. I have lower saves. Halfling luck, right? Oh, I forgot about halfling luck. +1 to saves. And then what's their other one? They like save against illusions better or something, or is that gnome? What is the other thing I'm forgetting about race? Passive DR to elements is trash. It's athletic mobility checks. Maybe relevant, probably not. 20 movement. Fearless is saving throws against fear. That's the one I'm forgetting. But the way we deal with fear is we run that stupid cleric spell that we precast walking into fights that makes us literally immune to fear. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, Professor Pandemonia. I saw that you've done like such a... Or that... I thought there was someone else in chat posting like their system. Is that you? I don't know the name. Was the name the same on Discord? It was in the like the one of the shared things. Yeah, no. Halfling luck is +1 to all saves. Keen senses is +2 to perception. So I mean, we don't get this for free because this is actually relevant. I hadn't realized when I was talking about this earlier that the perception bonus is relevant, right? Because the perception is part of our Aldori Sword Lord mechanics. So we're trading Sword Lord mechanics for Intimidate mechanics, which is probably a net wash, possibly even slightly in favor of Keen Senses. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you're the guy who's done a lot of the redesign stuff, and that was fairly interesting, although it's so fucking hard to balance stuff. So if you put the time and effort into like systematically balancing a system and changing it and playing with your friends, that sounds like a blast, man. All right. We don't know yet. Azamar still has his own stuff. So, I mean, chat, did you take into account the circumstance bonuses against becoming blinded or dazzled? You probably didn't. So, I mean, we can't rule those out. And then stupid resist bonuses that don't make any difference whatsoever. Get 2 more stats on Azamar compared to what do the stat blocks look like? I guess that's probably the other comparison to take a look at. So if we go as Zada Blooded on that. And is there a perception on one of these? UMD. Burning Arc. There's a perception bonus here on charisma. 2 racial on lower nature and persuasion and perception. We need it to hit 2 stats that are above 14. So it has to hit charisma and dex to gain bonuses for us. Okay. So we can't use another one. If we go Azamar, it has to be this one. Or we lose some stat points. There might be enough extra stat points by not dumping 2 strength, or rather being able to move strength around. We might be able to get those back. So potentially we could. This is persuasion and mobility with glitter dust. I don't really care about mobility or glitter dust here. All I care about is a 2 racial persuasion. We can take racial perception instead, which we can. We can take it here. Oh, this has persuasion and perception. But it doesn't buff either of the stats I care about. Okay. Yeah, we should look at halfling too. Problem with halfling is I think or not halfling, tiefling. I think the problem with tiefling is we're giving up wings and or halfling bonus, right? But we should at least take a peek, see what we're talking about. Yeah, it's that one, huh? This is what you're talking about? I get wings as tiefling? How do I get wing as tiefling? Why would I get wings on tiefling at level 7? Johan, can you explain that? Or you're not even talking to me, talking to someone else in chat? But these are perfect stats. Dex Charisma. We probably even gained the points back from dumping Wisdom there. And this literally buffs Perception and Persuasion as a racial bonus. That's hilarious. Like custom made for the Sword Lord. Persuasion is bluff only. Ah, okay. So at least we're okay. We're gonna get 2 out of that then. Quickly scroll through. I did miss that when I was reading that initially. The other bonuses. Intimidate, but it's buffing con wisdom. Not very helpful. Dex int. Bluff. There's a lot of these that are about this. On wisdom, penalty to charisma, racial bonus on persuasion for diplomacy and perception. A lot of perception buffs in this. Kind of weird they don't just give it to them as a that maneuver checks and combat maneuver defense. Did we know that Omnisan had bonuses to trip? Did. What else? Racial on persuasion. Strength wisdom is pretty bad for us. Strength wisdom. Strength charisma. Free perception. Mobility and persuasion when used for intimidate. They get 1 natural bonus to AC on charisma, not dex. Dex charisma, penalty to int, racial bonus to persuasion when used for diplomacy only and knowledge world checks. +1 to DC of any saving throws against enchantment spells that they cast. Yeah. I don't know if I knew about this. I guess our Arcane Trickster is int based, not charisma based. I didn't know there was a racial that gave me plus DC to spells. X int -2 to charisma is no good. Okay. Unless I hear where this +3 is coming from, then I don't really think that Tiefling sells it to me. It's close because this is kind of sweet, but I think +3 AC is slightly better than we can either get perception or persuasion based on which one we take. That isn't this one. Can't get them both, but this isn't actually both, so. Where would I see that? I'd see that under first feat selection, so we could at least look to see where that supposed this wing shit is coming from. All right, so this is our first feat coming in here. What is the second feat? This is monk feat. We're not going to worry about monk feat. We're looking for the wings itself. It's character level 10. There's other things besides Azamar that gives us this. I don't know what, I can't remember what it was. It's like dragon forms of some sort, right? But what would be this tiefling equivalent that I've never heard of? I think I know what most of these do as I scan them. Not all of them. I'm not seeing anything that gives me extra shit there. Dragon bloodline. Can you just take dragon bloodline? Isn't that something that's a class restricted thing? Or race, I guess? Alchemist level 6 feral wings. Yeah. All right, what have we done? We've learned that tiefling is not the race for us here. Learned that Azamar probably is. Although there's still reasonable. Well, that half orc gets keen senses and intimidating. 2 to each. We run into fucking orc ferocity, which is goddamn scam. I also get skilled. Only get +2 as opposed to +4, but we're only maxing 1. This is a pretty. Get baited again. Dude, if Orc Ferocity wasn't a debuff, I think Half Orc would actually be great, man. They have cool things. Intimidating's great. Keen Senses is great. And Skilled is reasonable. Fucking Orc Ferocity. These are like humans with +2 perception, but they have to take a skill focus as opposed to a whatever trait. This is so painful though. I'm like, this is the bullet that I'm having trouble biting, Joas, right? I wouldn't mind Halfling as something different. Halfling Luck seems like a nice ability. Extra feats for a little bit of extra AC from being tiny. I've actually found I didn't like tiny on my tanks because I found they didn't have enough of a zone of control to keep enemies engaged on me, so the enemies would walk away. I'm not super thrilled about being -2 sizes from normal when running this character around. If you notice, I've even stopped casting reduce size on my main tank because I fucking hate the fact that he can't punch anyone. So what I am currently really fighting to bite the bullet on is slow movement. Don't want this ability. And in Dwarf, I feel like I get rewarded for it. I get Hardy, which is awesome. And then I get the ratio that's even 2 more resist, and I get stability. And I get these basically passively, right? This is +4 to being knocked down, which is amazing. This is +2 later, +4 to saves against spells, which is amazing. I get a random 4 AC versus giants. God alone knows why. We get, what is this? Oh, and then I get the still the same spell, the +2 racial perception. The downside is slow and steady, and it's been pretty painful in that dwarf. But they can wear heavy armor and not feel like absolute dog shit, right? Like, anyways. If I look at the halfling is just like, I don't care about fearless at all. Literally 0 value to me, like 0. Slow movement, big deficit, sure-footed. I don't feel like this is that good. It's okay, I guess. It helps a little bit against being. Presumably, there's some variation. I don't know if athletics or mobilities adds to CMD. I bet you it does. I bet you it's one of them. Yeah. So I'm kind of lucky. Exactly. I'm kind of pushing towards Azamar because I don't know. Feels like I actually get things I care about there. Exactly. Need body block. The whole point of the off tank is in part to maintain space. And I'm a little worried the 20-foot halfling who can't do that isn't good. Versus Giants is so good. I don't think the halfling has that though. It's the gnome and the dwarf, right? They both have defensive training, giants. Outreach weapons, it would be the same. Sure about that? Azamar's normal sized. And the gnome is, or the halfling is small, right? Oh, you mean dwarf. Yeah, the dwarf reach is okay. I'm talking about making the I'm talking about having a halfling who is one size below everyone else and then shrinking them. Or even not shrinking them. It's still fucking a problem, right? Okay, what does Tragic Booty look like? Is this a what is it? I guess we just start from this side. Barely tragic. Like a Tragic Booty. A god who's let himself go a little. You have a beard? It's all glowy and shit. Perfect. We have to choose our portrait. What's their portrait for an Azamar tank? I hate that we're not getting dwarf out of this. But I don't hate that we're not getting halfling. Kind of Azamari to me. Look like an angel. What does this character do again? It's a sword lord. What does a sword lord look? This is our Azamar portrait. Is this Tartuccio's portrait? I can't remember. Yeah, it could be a sword lord. Like an Azamar. It looks. But I need to be able to tell which fucking character we're working with. What was the dwarfs previously? I could just keep it the dwarf, honestly. When it knows what a blade feels like. Guy looks thick. Yeah, alright. So we're going with Azada blooded, right? No, it's oh yeah, persuasion and mobility, but not perception off of this. What were the other options? Like raw Azamar? Strength, charisma, int charisma. Charisma's okay. The other secondaries suck. On charisma, perception, not very good for us. On wisdom, perception. That's the sweet one, but it buffs 2 that we don't care about. I don't know that we get the stats to do this. We might actually, though. I don't think we can get to 18 here. Let's be insanely greedy for just half a second and see if we can. Pretty sure we can't get there with the stat block. Just dodge required. Dodge requires something we don't have right now. Need dex for hitting stuff. You're not wrong. I know. We need dazzling display. Can we take that right now? Fucks up the build that was given, unfortunately, because I'm taking things in a different order. Cautious Fighter is the one we can't get anymore. There's no Cautious Fighter replacement, right? It's not called like defensive fighting or something. Defensive fighting is just an ability. Weapon focus. No, we get a weapon focus automatically. Yes. Can't take wings at level 1. What's our level 1 feat, bros? Chat. Crane wing, dodge, dazzling display, shatter defenses are the ones we were taking prior to this. Dodge. But dodge wasn't on this list. I think it might require like Bab 1 or something, which I'm not sure we get as a monk. Dex 13. I just don't have the stats yet. Okay. Dex 13 right there, game. Doesn't seem very happy with this. All right. Try. We're respecing Project Booty. Booty is going to look like that we've forgotten. Going to be an Azumar. Be thick beard. Okay. And going to be a monk to start